want to move on to something else. I listened to a podcast last week that Tim actually listened to as well, but Bryce Crawford, who is a young guy, he's got to be in his early 20s, and he's kind of like a street preacher, and he's very bold and very clear about the gospel, but he interviewed Tucker Carlson. And it is a phenomenal interview. It's probably one of the best interviews I've listened to in a long time. And Tucker's answers are just so good. And there's one particular piece that I'll play of what he said here, and then we can react to it. But it is dynamite.
Many of them, but and I find myself thinking like, Mark Levin, well, he's a pompous piece of shit. Whatever I think about Mark Levin, which I do think, by the way. And then I need to remind myself that, so am I. So am I. Like, I actually am no better than my persecutors on some most basic level, which is why I'm commanded to pray for them. Because it puts it all, in both of us have fallen short of God, me and Mark Levin.
Yeah.
And neither one of us is going to get into heaven except by the grace of God, period.
Why do you think people are more tolerant of their own sin than other people?
Well, because it's yours. Because it's so much easier to blame other people. Of course. I mean, Jesus addresses this in Matthew and other places at great length and with specificity. And he refers to the Pharisees first and foremost as what? Hypocrites. They're attacking others for doing what they do. I was just reading this morning, actually, and thinking and brooding about it. And so, look, I'm not in charge of the universe. I am not God, which is something that's going to be posted on my refrigerator just to remind me I am not God. So, I don't know how in the end everything shakes out. But I know for a fact the temptation in my life is not to do cocaine or go to hookers or whatever. The temptation is to become puffed up and self-righteous and be filled with hubris and arrogance. Like, I am prone to that, period. I am prone to that. And most successful men are really prone to that. Yeah. So I just want the first battle in my life every day to be against my own bad inclination.
Who's that guy?
That's Bryce Crawford, who interviewed him.
Never heard of him.
So I'd never heard of him before either.
Yeah, some young kid. Yes, he does. He interviews all kinds of people, like a lot of non-Christians.
Is he a Christian?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, okay. And very bold and strong out of his faith. But anyway, Tucker is just really, really open about his own crap in this interview, and that he is ultimately the problem, and that's what everyone needs to deal with. Is like our own stuff first, and even the self-righteousness. He talks about the Pharisees. Jesus responded to them like in adultery about like, if you've looked at a woman lustfully, you've committed adultery. Like, who are you to point fingers and stuff like that? And I think it's really easy to do, to point at other people's sins and not deal with our own stuff. And anyway, he has a lot of other really, really good answers in this interview. So I definitely recommend people to watch that. So it's Bryce Crawford podcast, Tucker, episode 174.
Is Tucker Carlson a whack job?
No.
A lot of people say that. Okay. That's just because they don't listen to him and they've heard clips.
That's right.
Honestly, he's lights out. Like, some of his takes I think are a little suspect, but
so are mine.
But like mine are every other day. Like, if someone would listen to me, like, don't. So like, but he's so good. He's so good. Wears his heart on his sleeve.
Yeah.
You know what he's thinking. You can tell he's being authentic. Every time he talks, he's telling you what he believes. He's not hiding anything.
And sometimes that actually shocks you and I'm like, are you sure you should say that? But I'd rather have that than someone that holds back and isn't themselves. But what really struck me too, that I'm thinking about it, is he said that 4 years ago, when the whole Black Lives Matter thing started happening, he was like, this is crazy. Like, this isn't actually Republican versus Democrat. This seems like good versus evil. And then he started reading his Bible for the first time really ever. Like, he was an Episcopalian. So he never really read his Bible much, never really was into his faith. He called himself a Christian, but he said, I'm only going to read one book, and that's the Bible. And he just started reading it and reading it and reading it. And everything started to kind of like fall into place for him and started changing his life when he started doing that. Well, surprise. And so I think a lot of people judge people from their whole career as well. Like, I'm sure when you're online as much as he has been and recorded as much as he has been, you're going to have a bunch of stuff out there that's probably crazy and things you regret saying. And he actually admits a lot of those things too, things that you regret saying. And I mean, I certainly have that. The longer I'm going to be recording here, I'm going to have that. So, anyways, I guess that's it.
Somebody asked me if I was going to run for city council.
Oh, nice.
And then I said, there's 80 episodes of filth and degradation that people can go through to find all the reasons that I shouldn't be a city councilor in Chilliwack.
Paul Henderson, the old guy guy.
Hey guys, if you enjoy that episode and were blessed by it, would you be willing to support the show? That would help a lot in creating more content, improving the quality of the content, putting the production value, getting more guests on, and me being able to spend more time and energy towards it. So if you're interested in doing that, you can click up here and it'll take you to a support page. But you can also subscribe to the podcast by clicking over here and doing that. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one.